So welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live show, live Thursdays. I've got wanted to use my watercolor markers, but I'm going to be using it in color book pages. So I'm going to start these pages and I'm going to try and finish them. But because they're going to be really kind of in depth with these markers, then to show a whole show of just coloring one page might take hours. So what I might do is I'll start some of each page, and then I might make a video that's not live and speed it up so you can see what happens. So I quite fancy doing the owls, and this is the Kirby Roseanne Animorphia, and I've neglected this book quite a lot. So I need to do that page, and I'm looking for small spaces because I want to be working with my watercolor markers. Oh, and I found my little piece of paper, so that's good. That I've been looking for. So I was always frightened of the pages, so I've actually photocopied, and in my quest to find a good photocopy paper that we can watercolor on, so that when I get my color book pages uploaded, anybody can just buy them and they can print them on whatever paper they want. But if we want to use watercolors, we can do. Now this is actually Canson marker paper, so I've done a series on the different Canson papers that you can buy in a pad. Now this one definitely would go through. This is marker paper. It definitely would go through a printer, I'm pretty sure, and it's shiny. And my Rotring Indian ink permanent ink is on there as well. Hi Melody, welcome to Bunny's Designs. So I kind of like that. So I've drawn that one out ready to colour. So we could do that a bit later. The other ones are all kind of handy. And I'm gradually I started with the original Derwent marker paper. So this paper was brought out by Winsor & Newton, and it was brought out to use with the markers. And I wanted to see what it was like with the markers, but this will not go through printer paper. So my original idea is the color book, if it ever comes out in a published form, would be, I think, A3 and A4, which is what this one is, which is 9 by 12. Actually, it's 8.5 by 11 3/4, but this is a little tiny bit bigger than what we call A4 printer paper size. So I originally was playing with this particular water paper. And then I bought some Canson because I wanted to find something that would go through the printer. So this one is the Canson bright white heavyweight cartridge paper. And I'm thinking this might go through actually. And this is quite nice because the marker, the permanent Rotring isograph marker, hasn't gone through on that one. Then we had the Bristol board, and the Bristol, sorry. And again, I love the shininess because you can get some nice detail on there. And this was the early one, the extra heavyweight drawing paper. And I think I like this the most because there is a tiny, oh, I've left some masking fluid in there, so that's naughty. Because it doesn't like, although hopefully it'll be okay. I used it quite wet and did a background, and it doesn't go through, it buckled. Just not sure if it's thin enough to go through the printer paper, but actually that's the nicest to use as a watercolor because I did get that quite wet. So there were the three that we'd had a go with. And the last one to do is the marker. So I think if I get a chance, I might do that sometime today. Hi, Tina. Welcome back. I really don't want to destroy this page because you'll do the other page. So I'm going to have a play with the markers and see if I can get the nice consistency that I want, the fluidness, so I can get some fine detail, but I don't go through. Now I can do it with the Derwent watercolor pencils, but I want to use these markers because they're very easy to use, and at the moment my wrists are really, really poorly. I had a bit of a fall, and they're not brilliant. So we have the mushroom pages. I did start this one in the markers, and again, because I'm not in that zone, I've got to get back. This was the Phantomorphia by Kirby, and again, like the fact that I'm using lovely soft things in here, because the other Kirby I bought the book by mistake twice. I've used my Peerless, so I like the fact that we can have that strong. And you could get this with the Hydrus or the Peerless. Hydrus and Peerless are the strongest, but we've also got the Neocolor 2s as well, and the Inktense pencils. So I might actually, if I printed off one of my papers, I'll do a comparison of all the different mediums that I've got, the water-based mediums. I normally stick to water-based because tubes of oils and acrylics are a bit of a pest for me at the minute. So I like the fact that I've got these beautiful, bold butterflies, but then absolutely adore the fact that I've got these lovely soft watercolors. So, and as I say, only by chance do you normally buy a color book twice. Having said that, I did find the Joanna Basford's Christmas one for a £5 in the January sale, because I didn't have them then. So that needs to be finished. And then, of course, I love my fairy books. And again, I've been too frightened to really work in them. But this was the markers. I think this was one of the first times I used them. And, of course, now it's dried and we've got buckling at all on the other side. You work quite very, very thin. I can go back in and do some more detail. So I could work on this one again and really bring it to this stage. And I kind of like that idea. But again, it works in its own right. Now, I think I used a pastel background. I'm pretty sure I used pastel on that one, because the pastel you can just gently wet. Now, if I've used watercolor in big spaces, I would have buckle. But remember what we said when I discussed this lovely book. If you wanted to work in acrylics or watercolors or anything that's going to destroy the page, work backwards. So if you wanted to work in something that you know is going to go through, you can use this as a reference, color this one, and destroy the back. So you've used that, you finished that page. So then you can use that one as a reference. You can color this one and ruin the back page. And it doesn't matter about ruining the back page because you've already done it. Whereas if you go forward and you use this one and you ruin the back page, you haven't got your colors, your color guide for this one. So if you want to use a particular favorite medium and you need to go through the paper, you have two choices. You photocopy it, and then you can use markers. Like I do that with my chameleon pens. You know, I love my chameleon pens, but they would go through. Now, I actually have this book twice. So I actually could do this book in markers. That's an idea. Because I haven't got my chameleon pens at the moment. They're tucked away in a cool corner. Because I'm not in the studio. I'm actually on my rickety little TV. It's either a TV little... It's like a hospital bed. I use it upstairs when I'm poorly, but my husband's brought it down for me. So I'm in the lounge on the coffee table. So I've got a bit. This is my workspace. So I'm a bit squished at the minute. So my studio consists of a sofa, a coffee table, and the laptop is perched. So you can actually do it. In difficult circumstances, because my laptop is on a fan and it has legs that spray out, and because they spray out, it's actually hanging over the arm of the sofa. So that's where the laptop is, and then I have it's upside down, but then I have a pile of books here that I'm using. And then on the other side, I have another pile. And then I have the water and my coffee and a jug of glass of water on a little coffee. Old tripod is one of my husband's that he has to do photography, and it's tilted at a funny angle to hang over this little table. So you don't have to have lots of fancy equipment, although my videos are not particularly good quality, but hopefully there's a little bit of good content in there. Right, so if you want to destroy it, you have two choices. You can photocopy it, and if you photocopy it 2 or 3 times, you can color in pastels, pencils, watercolors, markers, and then pick the favorite one, and then do the book. So sometimes, I mean, I've got this book twice. My husband found it at the works, and I'm using pastels in one of mine, and I really like the pastels because you can get the colors. I think I'm using my Derwent pastel pencils, and of course you can get some beautiful soft colors with that. So I do like this book, and I've got my new rule of trying to work from the front of the book, because I've got a nasty habit of I don't finish a book, because if the page I don't like, I miss it, and that I'm not doing that. Trying my damnedest not to do that. So I have to work on this page, and I have to work on this page, even though I'd really like to work on this page. I'm not doing that, because the other thing is, why don't I like that page? Well, I might not think I can get this color. So it's taking me out of my comfort zone, and it's also making me do things that I don't want to do. So I'm pushing the boundaries. So I might find a new technique. So you can always find new things, but if you always color the same way, which is what I do, it's sometimes a good idea to just follow the book. So we want to finish. I think I might put another layer on this one, and if you wanted to do that, you could put 20 layers on this, but you would definitely leave it overnight. This is thin paper. This is like photocopy paper, just a little bit thicker. So just leave it and go on to another color book. Has anybody got any questions? So that's the next one. And then the last one, again, I love this book, but I'm finding it difficult to try and work in it. And again, that was from the works. And you have a small color guide of each page. And again, these are kind of vintage, Victorian. So we've got the History of Birds, 1871, and we've got Beautiful Flowers published 1827, and The Butterflies and Fish of the Nationalist, the Naturists Library, 18, which was edited by Scottish naturalist Sir William Jardine in 18. And they've got, sorry, she's looking for her bungle. Beg your pardon. Oh, Betsy. Betsy. Sorry, guys, I have to go find Betsy. I don't know why she's crying like that. But I love the fact that these have got the water droplets on. They're beautifully coloured, painted. And it's a watercolour. I actually like the idea that we can get these colours because there will be in a traditional set. And remember, I said that about the Winsor Newton. They're all traditional colours. So I shall be back in a second, guys. I just have to go. Thank you, Betsy. Sorry about that. Don't know why she was crying her little socks off, but she was. Right, where do we go? She's got a bit of a mow as Betsy Doodles. So we'll put Alfie there so we know where he is. So again, I like the idea that I can kind of get these colours. And again, this is a bit gamboge, maybe cadmium yellow. And if we add a tiny touch of purple to the bright yellow, we'll get that lovely shadow colour. And the same with the green. We'll use the same green, but add a touch of, but that looks like a bit of sap green in there, sap and vermilion. So I like the fact that we can do that. But again, this paper is really, really thin. So again, do I want to work backwards? Perhaps I may have to work backwards. That was with gouache that I had to play, but actually it was okay. I worked quite thin, so there was no buckle, and that was gouache. What's the next one? I'm pretty sure that if I'm really careful, we won't go through. Because my favourite thing I want to do is to pick this page with the butterflies in it. But of course, I have to do these first. Otherwise, I know I won't go back to them. So I really like that. And again, won't probably get the background. I could probably do that in pastel when I finished, because I want to put my hand on it to be really steady. So I think we could do that one. So we've got quite a few things we could get on with today. Oh, hi V, welcome to Bunny's Designs. Thank you, Melody. Yeah, well, hubby found me that one. We were just going out the shop and hubby found this one, and this was £3 from the works. And again, I think this one would be a lot more, but it is quite a thick colour book. And when you think these are thin pages, I think there's they're numbered 118, 120. So I think, yeah, that's number one. There's 120 pages to colour, because there's a little number there. So, you know, there's some old birds, all kind of RHS. They're all beautifully, beautifully drawn and coloured. And I did panic when I thought about, the colours on those. But again, we could do those in pastel. That was my first idea, but I'm not sure if I want to get my hands, because I've got to blend, you see, and I'm difficulty blending. And I also want to know just how good these markers are on different papers, because we know we can get away with quite a nice amount of dampness on the Kirby's, but these other ones are very, fairly thin compared to others. I hope that makes sense. So we could we'll finish off the skull, and then I could possibly do another layer on this one and then start that one. It seems to be flowers, flowers, flowers. And I don't know which one this is the first. I really don't want to do this one because of the big space, but I suppose we could have a go. We could have a go with that one. This is a little bit thicker, but the paper is cheaper, so it will absorb colour straight away. So, but these are single-sided, so it doesn't really matter that much. And I say my daughters, but they were mainly drawing for a lot, very quickly. So of course we think of peerless colours here, so that might be a nice one to do, that one. And these are perforated because, as I say, they are quite old, these now. Again, I got them at the works, but I must have had these when the girls were little. Well, they're 18 and 20 now. So, you know, don't let your children throw out colour books, because these are beautifully drawn. But of course, this is well before colouring was for adults. This is just a children's one. But so I have to kind of do easy things today. So I may not get a chance to draw anything today. I think my rotary pen It's not okay. I might do finish a bit more of that one, I think. I know I want to do that one. I'll probably finish this one first, I think. And then if I get a chance, I'll start the owl one. And then we had the mushroom one, didn't we? I think I'll actually finish a page today. Probably celebrating the fact that we've got so many. I can actually finish a page and put a little sticker on the side. And I use little Post-its. But for some reason, I can't find any Post-its. So that's what we're going to do next. Very quickly, mouthful of tea. The Happy Mail. I've got 2 Happy Mails. But the Happy Mail was this book. So I had this book a long time. See if you can just get there a bit. And it's the British Isles. And this one is the this is the deluxe version. So I have this book, and it's a bit rickety, but it has beautiful pictures all around the British Isles. Interiors, castles, famous houses, lakes, buildings, churches, seasides. So it's a mixture of all sorts. But this is printed, and I tried to find another one. This is printed, and if you look at the introductory pages here, they're exactly the same paper. So this paper here is this paper here, but it has, instead of printing words, it's a print rather. It's printed a photograph, but it's not on photographic paper. So I found it on eBay for 99p or something, and it was £5 postage. And so I thought, okay, brilliant. I don't know if that's the dog or not. I shall buy it and use it to use for abandoned places. And it's not here. It's not here. Where on earth is it? Oh, sorry guys, can't find it. I can't find it. Leave it there for a second. But when it arrived, it was slightly different. Instead of being 3 fingers, and yet it looks identical. And when you open it, I don't know if the camera will pick this up. They're a bit heavier, these. But if you can see, that's the original one. And that's the new one, but they're identical. And one is a deluxe version, the other one isn't. And one is a couple of years before. And actually, this one is an earlier one. So the one I bought was this one. And it's actually in better condition. The spine isn't broken. But the big difference is, oh gosh, sorry. The big difference is this is photograph paper. So they are a lot thinner. So it's got exactly the same photographs in, but they're photographs. They're printed on photograph paper, if that makes any sense. So they're shiny. And actually, it's in better condition than my other one. But the reason I chose the other one was I wanted to paint over the top of it. So I've got exactly the same book, but then, and it smells like a new book, actually, even though it's 82 is this one. And this isn't the deluxe version. This one. So my Happy Mail turned out to be an unhappy mail. This one is 87 and the other one is 88. So they brought this out, and it must have been quite expensive because in those days, photographs this size would be. So this is all shiny and it's photograph paper. I've just thought actually it would probably be better to paint on, but when I was doing my altered book, I didn't like, this is my first altered book, Beautiful Germany. Oh, thank you, V. Hubby's at work today. Bungles is in front of me, he's washing himself. Bungles have the results of the swab, and is it Streptococcus something or other? Not the one we get, but it's the cat one. And he's got another couple of bugs, but he may have a virus. And as I say, it's a reaction to his first inoculation. And we've got feedback from all the other kittens. There were 6 kittens that had vaccinations that day, and there's only Bungle that's poorly. So he's obviously, and he was a long-haired cat. Talking of which, he's just washing himself now. He sat right in front of me. So we're going to start some new, stronger pills. So you can see there's a bit of shine where I haven't painted. So the original photograph is under there. And I've been a bit rough with this. I should have done a black marker instead of ramming paint down here. But again, I knew this was going to be my first one. So these are going to be acrylics. When I finish these, we're going to have really fine acrylic detail. So at the moment, they've just got a basic structure of how I want them to look. Done quite a few, actually. So, right. So, sorry about that. And of course, I've been obsessed with snowflakes. So my little snowflake book came. I've got lots of different birds, and I think this I'm going to do differently. So that was my first attempt, and I kind of like it, but I don't like the craft acrylics. So I wanted to use proper acrylics. Oh yes, V, I know, poor Bungle. But you know, it doesn't affect him. He still eats and does everything else. He just may be snotty forever. Sorry, we're on the bunny trail, weren't we? So I actually love this page. And then so I thought actually, because this one is in better condition and they are photographs and it's in better condition than mine, I decided that I just can't pick the damn thing up. I decided that I would probably, because mine's definitely, I mean, I've had it 20 years, maybe more. Didn't buy it new, but I've had it a long time. So I've decided that because this is kind of, paint will absorb better on it, it's not going to be slipping about off the top, that I'm going to use this one. Now, what I also did very quickly on altered books is I took some photographs and put them on my iPad, because when my hands are really bad, when my hands were really bad, I took a photograph. Oh, we have some new kids on the block. Very quickly, while we're here, we have some new kids on the block. Sorry, I take thousands of photographs. So I took a couple of photographs that I thought might look quite good to use. Now, I have to say, I do prefer ArtRage, but for this very simple way to work, Procreate works really well. And I did that one yesterday. Now, I wish I'd done that one, but I've taken quite a few photographs, as you can see, of this book. Sorry, Alfie's just... So this is 698 video, and Alfie's backed on it. So I took this photograph here, which is this. So if you don't want to mess with acrylics on your book, or you don't want to spoil your book, if you have a page that you love, as long as you don't use it for other than personal use, because it's copyrighted. But you could take a photograph, I am sure, and you can use it on your iPad or your tablet, or you can use it on your computer with some are about £50, the best ones, with pens. And so you can attach them and you can still use them with a tablet. I'm quite lucky that I've had this bought for me. So I took this photograph and then I opened it in Pinterest, if you go into Procreate, and I opened it up, and I did quite a few. So I started on this one, and I took with black marker pen, which is something I can't use, but I can use it in here. And then I blacked out all. I love this because it twists and turns, so it's so easy to use if you've got poorly hands. So I've got it all ready, and then I started wraps of ivy. Where would ivy trail? I'm going to put my little toadstools across there. And then for some reason I saw this, and I thought, oh, I kind of like that one. So if I press this, you can watch really, quickly. Here we go. This is, I mean, obviously it takes quite a long time, but this is what you can do. I always put the ivy, and I put a highlight, then I put a low light, or sometimes I put a low light and a highlight, shadow, dark. And then I started to kind of think of a creeper. So we have a creeper, and then we have some more highlights. And then we start to put, I was playing about with my snowflakes. So I just put one wherever I wanted snowflakes to remind myself. And then down here, I think, I played up there first, didn't like it. And of course, the beauty of that is you can take it off. And then I started down here, playing with, and I put quite a lot of white on, but I will be taking some of that off. So eventually, only where the light, the sunlight would, the light would be hitting, would there be. And it's quite therapeutic as well. And it's very rough at this stage. It's very rough. But this is how you start. Then you just keep going back in. So you probably do most of it at this stage, then go back in again with some more detail. So I'm still doing the creepers up here. And then go back in and put a bit of shadow in there. And I think that's it. So I wanted to show you, that's how I make a beautiful, clean room look abandoned. And you can start with little things. I started with the ceiling. So this is going to be thinner than the pillars, so we take that out. The windows I took out. And of course, the beauty of it is I haven't destroyed the book. And I have to say, I like working. It's the same way. It's with a pencil. It's with a pencil. The Apple Pencil is quite nice to hold, and although there's, I think I'm working with the oil pen. If I do this, yeah, so this is live now. So if you look at this, there's little dots, and you turn it. If you can see, this is so rough, but of course, once I've covered it, it's just there to give me a guide. And then I was playing with my snowflakes. And then I think I'm going to have a creeper. So that's going to be the creeper, which is a kind of a dot. And these are leaves. So you can see some have got more detail on than others. And I kind of like that because you can do anything on here because it's not. Oh, thank you, Melody. Thank you. So I kind of like working this way. And of course, it means that if you want to go on a train journey or a car journey, and this is why I was bought this, is that when we go anywhere, I can still work, because it's very therapeutic to do this, because it doesn't always work, but I use it as pain management. So, and I think there should be not these expensive ones, but there should be some type of drawing or game implement to give to children in casualties, because it takes the mind off things. Obviously, if their leg's hanging off, it's not going to do that. But if you can try and distract a child, they're not as worried or as, because pain and stress causes more pain and stress, if that makes any sense. And if you can understand that as an adult, there's no way you can understand that as a child. So I think giving them a little drawing game to do or a little game to do, whereas, yeah, they might have a poorly arm, but they can tap with their fingers and play a game. It distracts them, and it works for an adult, so it would work for a child, because we're colouring in, so we've kind of gone back to our childhood. But it is quite nice that you can do this anywhere. So I'm working, I think I'm working in oils at the minute. Yeah, I'm working in painting. So I'm painting in oils, and I can be doing that anywhere. And I always find that really fantastic. I mean, you can do a lot of things in this Procreate one. I have a video of how I use it. But for altered pages, it's even better, because you might find, I'm going to, hopefully going soon on a derelict Manchester trail, and there's also a couple of walks in London you could do. Now, if it was 20 years ago, I'd do it. And there's derelict places that you can take photographs of, and then you can use them. But I just like the idea that even if you didn't want to destroy the book, you could take a photograph. And there's a couple in here of Buckingham Palace, and I don't really want to destroy them, because it's just the image that I'm destroying. But I could take a photograph of it and do it, because then it becomes not Buckingham Palace; it's just a beautiful room, and I'm making it abandoned. So it depends on your frame of mind, really. But I did enjoy this, and again, you can sit, and you've just got a pencil. And you can kind of work quite nicely. And again, you can work in acrylics. As I say, if I'm drawing, I prefer Art Rage on here very quickly. I think Alfie was done in Art Rage, my little oil painting. Oh, very quickly, we have New Kids on the Block. And I think I might be painting this one. These are our new kitties. So if I go back to here, see, I practiced with the colours, taking the colours. This is the mushroom page. I put quite a few things on here as well. I've got lots of pictures of the Abbey. I've got my mushrooms. So again, I can take this and I can colour now over the top of this. Once I've put it in Procreate. Sorry, the light's a bit bad. And of course you can colour. Now this is in actual Procreate. using the pencil. So again, a graphite pencil or charcoal. This is actually graphite. This is just a pencil, but you can get these gorgeous, gorgeous things. Whereas, you know, if you put your handing on this and it's real, you'd be very messed up. So you can get some beautiful darks. This was charcoal. I think this one was charcoal. So you can play with all sorts of different mediums on here. And I just love that. And again, I did put the mushrooms in so that I could actually use oil paints or acrylics in here. Just find something to hold that up. That's better. Oh, it's too much. I've put some masking fluid in a little tiny pot. What else have I got on here? Let me have a look. I did Inky and the Ivy Butterfly because, again, I didn't know what colours to do it. So I was playing about with colour, and that's how I ended up with these colours for the butterfly. And the little, I filled those in. So kind of like that, and the drippage as well. And the amethyst, the jewels, I liked. Oops, I see I've drawn on that now. To be a bit careful. So I really enjoyed working with that one. I think I did 2 pages on there. I've also got my bullet journal in here as well, but that's another story. That's another start of a mushroom page, and this is another one. So started and then putting more detail in, starting to put the shadows in to make them pop out. So I like that. But and I think I've done, yeah, that's another one that I've done in markers, and I've used watered down markers, so transparent, so you use lots and lots of layers, and quite like that, and got a lovely shadow on her feet. So you can play about quite nicely on here. And again, you know, you can work in any medium you want. This is another one that I've already done, because again, I didn't know what to do with these colors. So this is how I did this one. Again, I worked on my cushion tray when I took the photograph. And you see, I didn't like it, so I took it out and put another color. Again, you can't do that once you've colored it. But the green did not go. So again, I like working like this, and it does record what you do. It's a bit fast, but it does record it. So I did really like working like this. And again, you can take just that with you, and you can have all your pages and all your color books on your iPad or on your little tablet. And before I had this, I used my daughter's, had a little tablet, and it was so bad, it's lost its memory, but it's only half this size. But I plumbed it in, so that's the finish, and I got a lovely highlight on her lips. So that's the finish. Sorry guys, I've got a glare on there. So I like working that way, but very quickly, my favorite is, and I did try some of these, and I don't like them. It's right in front of me. I do like Outrage. I have it, the official big version, but you have to buy it on here. But I do like this, and I don't know what I've got in. I don't know what I've got in here at the moment. Again, I'm not used to using this one particularly, so I don't know where everything is. So that's a bit annoying. Do I know where everything is? Ah, view gallery. Sorry, guys, my neighbour. Oh, sorry, guys. Oh dear me, it's going to be one of those days today. Right, so that's my little. So this one is my original book, and I did take a photograph of this. So this, I think, this is going to be the. I'm going to have to do to see. I think, but I thought to kind of alter it, I would do a reflection on here or something. Put the vine down here. I think I want to paint on this surface. But at the moment, I can't use anything at the moment. So that gave me the idea for the creepers. I'd thought of ivy. The outside spaces will have ivy, brambles, but the inside could have, because I love, oops, sorry guys, it's just a bit heavy, this book. I absolutely love this page. You can't really get more abandoned than that. And actually, it's not abandoned, it's lived in, because the lawn and all the windows are clean. And I would think it's very old. I would think it's a few 100 years old, this particular cottage. And then, so that's more of a vine, and this is a creeper, I think. And unless it's the same, one's in summer, one's in winter. So kind of like the idea of that. So I'm taking ordinary. I don't know how I'm going to do some of them. I think that's Wimbledon. That's Crystal Palace, I think. Some of these you can imagine that ivy creeping out, and there's a bramble, and there's lots of wild flowers that kind of creep, and the ones to find actually that will grow are weeds in any gardening book. So I've got a lot of gardening books. So I thought, well, actually, if I look for the weeds and the bindweeds, they're the things that are going to be the first thing to kind of go around. And I love convolvulus and bindweed. The way it grows is beautiful. Unfortunately, it's a terrible, terrible thing to get in your garden, but I absolutely love it. Don't really have much of a clue what to do here, but I suppose if I put the snowflakes, I could make reflections. Again, take the panels out. Then take the pews out, then take the windows out. That's how I work in this one. I think I would possibly that's the one with I obviously didn't take all the picture. So I could retake that because I had a bit of a problem with this one. So I could retake that one and do it again, actually. But it's quite nice working digitally. Again, you can take pictures out or the ceiling out. Again, I think, well, the ceiling would come through first. So all these things here would have like chandeliers of ivy kind of thing. And wipe out the table, I think. I'd wipe out the table. Or the chairs, and have the table with all the toadstools growing on it, I think, the mushrooms. So there's some beautiful photographs in here. I think I decided from the outsides it would be the brambles, so you like peeping through a hedge, an overgrown hedge, at a scene that's overgrown. So again, we could have the ivy and things growing around here, and then have brambles closing in, and so you're looking through, because I think that's the way to derelict these. Same with these. So if it's not a close-up, it would kind of be a bit of a scene. Look at that little dog, that little scene there. So there's all sorts of different, and of course this one's almost done for us, this one, with the snowflakes. And perhaps some ivy escaping. But that actually might work quite a nice snow scene, because I have my white pen that would do that. In fact, let's just have a really quick go, very quickly. This is how easy it is. Again, you can't do this for commercial because it's copyrighted, but I'm sure it'll be fine if you're just using it for own purpose. So we'll hold that over there. Try to get as much photographing as possible. So I now have that as a photograph. So I'm going to Procreate. Done. I can't hold this up today. Go to Procreate. So we want gallery. Select photograph. Moments. We want this one. Make sure that I got all of it in. I got as much as possible, didn't I? Yep. Yeah, I got as much as possible. So what I can then do, actually what I'll show you a trick. I found this the other day with the kittens. So we'll go there. I'll go there. So what you want to do is to lift this up. We don't want that white in. So I think that will do. And you press the side button. You press the side button and the thingy button at the same time, and you get a photograph. You can done and save. So when I go back to photos and gallery, it saved it there. So I go into Procreate and select photograph, and now I need the last one because it's slightly different position. So I've made a layer, and I want to work on that layer. And the reason I'm going to call this one, I'm going to call this one and double tap it. And I'll show you why in a second. So we've created a layer and I've drawn on it, and I've made a mistake. So if I take an eraser, I can rub that out. I can rub all that out. So it doesn't matter what I do. I can press the eraser and I can rub it out. But if I was on this layer and I rubbed it out, I'd rub the drawing out, the original one out. So if I go back, and I can go back onto, that's the photograph layer. So everything I do on that layer, I'm touching the photograph. But when I draw on that layer and I make a boo-boo, when I erase it, I'm leaving the original one alone. And I don't know, but I like that layer thing there because it protects the photograph. And I forgot to do that on the other one. And if you always do that one, I mean, you could do the blackout, and then you could do detail. So call that one detail. So that means that when I was doing the blackout, so I can take all this out here and all this out here. Oops, I can't draw very well with my right hand at the minute. And then we can take all this out of here that we want. Make that slightly smaller. And so we can go in there. And that's on the drawing one. Now when I go to the highlights, I can go in with my snowflakes. And again, if I think, oh, I don't like the snowflakes. If I'm on this layer and I use the eraser, it's going to take the black away. But if I use the layer I drew it on and I use the eraser, it's going to leave the photograph alone, and it's going to leave that black background layer. So the more layers you do, and I don't like using lots of layers, and it does eat your memory up, but sometimes it's quite okay. Oh, did you hear Alfie? Oh dear. So, yes, Alfie's in the other room. We should have peace now, hopefully. So I like, if you it's a big investment, but I kind of like it. But as I say, I do prefer, I don't know where I can't find, I've only played a little bit. There's gallery. I think it should be in gallery. Here's gallery. So in the gallery, this again is done with, and I do like this, mushrooms and strawberries. You can open it, or we can go back. We've got this one, playing back with leaves and things. So I prefer, if I'm drawing my art, to use this. And if I open it, I can then play with the strawberries and the little mushrooms. And I do like and I'm playing with the pencil. So at the moment the pencil is 36, and I do like Art Rage slightly better for artwork, but for altered pages, Procreate is quite good. So that's very quick of digital. So there we go, guys. So I'm not sure if I'll ever get to destroy this book now I've bought it. I probably will, but we'll see. So now back to what we were supposed to be doing. Is working in here. I think I did use my best paintbrushes. I can't remember. So the next, how long have we been? We've been an hour for that. So what I want to do, guys, is I'm going to, I haven't done that yet. Okay, that one. Possibly have an avalanche now. Yeah, I've just lost all the colour book. Yeah, I thought I would. So I've got my babies in here. And again, I take, it's got double zip, and then you can pull what I would call the gusset, or the side around there. And then I've got my markers, my paintbrushes, and my, and I put 2 little dishes in here as well. So it really was like a little water set. Just have to move those out of the way. Cannot believe I lost every single colour book on the floor. Every single one on the floor. That's really what I wanted to do today. And I kind of turned that round and just tuck that in. Or you can do this. And you've unzipped it, you can do this and just wrap it round so it doesn't get squished. And there's no Velcro here to hold it down, but I'm not particularly bothered. And then the whole thing is flat, so you can turn it how you want. I need to clean that. It's got acrylics on it, but I kind of like that. And I think in here is my dish with my original colours on it. My little dish. So I had put quite a few things in this little bag. Got my post-it notes. Should put those up there. I seem to have an awful lot of books about. So what I thought I might do is I'm going to stop this video because it was a bit of a mishmash, and then when I come back, we'll be using the markers in the Kerby Roseanne. So thanks for watching, guys. When we come back, I'm going to go through the colours, and I'm going to go through which colours we need to get full set. So thanks for watching, and hope to see everybody on the other side. So thanks for watching, guys. I shall be back in a second.